granniopteryx, granniopteryx. She knows the truth, she's linking every link.
All right, well, I found this article Allison Pearson wrote. Allison Pearson is a Daily Telegraph journalist who was almost arrested for making a tweet the police didn't agree with. They turned up on her doorstep one Remembrance Day morning, and unfortunately they'd bitten off a little bit more than they could chew with her, because she is a very well-known, famous and much respected journalist, and the Telegraph went to bat for her and the police backed down, and it actually caused a little bit of rethinking. Not much, but a little bit. And now Allison Pearson's voice has a lot more, you can't say a voice has more traction, can you? People listen to her more carefully now. And she is continuing to report on the Lucy Connolly case. Newly disclosed documents, am I recording? Yep. Newly disclosed documents, she says, reveal what millions of us knew all along. And that is, our authoritarian government was determined to make an example of her. Now, this was really a witch trial, and the government were acting like the Grand Inquisitors. She had apparently gone against their orthodoxy, and they were going to make sure that she was burnt at the stake as an example, as they used to say in France, pour encourager les autres. As most of you will know, on July the 29th, 2024, Lucy was in quite a state, diagnosed with PTSD after the death of her baby, who died as a result of NHS incompetence and carelessness. She was easily triggered by any report of children suffering. And so she made a somewhat intemperate post on Twitter, on X, referring to undocumented immigrants. In the heat of the moment, Lucy put an angry and deeply unpleasant post on X. Mass deportation now, set fire to all the effing hotels full of all the for all I care. While you're at it, take the treacherous government and politicians with them. And then she took her dog for a walk. She was trembling with rage. She took her dog for a walk, thought that was too strong. That's not really me. She went home, she deleted the tweet, and then she tweeted out something like, violence is not the answer. But of course, the government, who will accept apologies from any sort of minister who says something intemperate, could not accept her apology. The police came to arrest her at the start of a day when her living room was full of the small children she looked after. Many of those small children, she was a childminder by profession, many of those small children were the children of immigrants. And the parents of these children had nothing bad at all to say about Miss Connolly. She was apparently a very caring and loving childminder. But after an interview, it was reported by the Crown Prosecution Service that Mrs. Connolly had told police she did not like immigrants and claimed that children were not safe from them. She said nothing of the sort. But by the time the CPS admitted that, the damage was done. And she was all over the headlines as a Tory councillor's racist wife. Now, did I mention she was a Tory councillor's wife? Yes. Her husband was a Conservative councillor, and that meant that the government could sort of rub their hands with glee over being able to hold up as an example of everything that was evil in British society as the wife of a Tory councillor. So she was denied bail, although as a first-time offender with, no record at all, she was the perfect candidate for it. And such a case might be expected to be heard in a magistrates' court. For those of you who don't know the British system, magistrates' courts are very low level, and they can't really, I don't know, they have very limited imprisonment abilities, and it's mostly fines and stuff like we call binding over, which means they have to promise to be a good boy or a good girl, and that sort of thing. And the magistrate's court is always the first port of call for whatever crime that you committed. You go to the magistrate's court first, and then they say, yeah, we can't handle this, and then put you up to a higher court. Okay, so what happened was this. Lucy trusted the authorities. She trusted the police. She spoke to them. She shouldn't have done. And she trusted the duty solicitor, who told her something like, look, just plead guilty and they'll give you a slap on the wrist and you'll be out by Christmas. However, if you don't plead guilty, if you insist on a court with a jury, then you're going to be on remand, possibly for up to 2 years before your case finally comes up. So it's better not to do that. Just plead guilty and it'll all be over with. And then when she went to the court, the judge delivered her a lecture on what a diverse and tolerant nation the UK is, and then, ignoring all the mitigating factors and the testimonials from the ethnic minority parents whose children she was looking after, he sentenced her to 31 months in jail, which is more than some men get for, I've got to be careful of my language, crimes involving unwilling ladies. Allison Pearson, was deeply suspicious about Lucy Connolly's case. I began to talk to Lucy in prison and heard how she was being denied the normal leave granted even to hardcore offenders. I came to the chilling conclusion she was effectively a political prisoner. I'm going to break off here and show you a photograph of somebody else. Just a minute when I find it. I'm sorry that the picture isn't that clear. This fellow is called Ricky Jones. He was a councillor, Labour councillor, and he was at some sort of a rally around the same time as Lucy Connolly was being persecuted by the courts. Ricky Jones was at this rally and he was talking about far-right people, and you can see what he said about far-right people. And if you look at where his hand is, it's because he was actually drawing his hand across his throat as he was saying this. Now, what happened with him was he was arrested for incitement to violence or something. Then he was let out on bail, a privilege which was not extended to Lucy Connolly. His case was put back months, so he had 6 or 7 months before his case came up and in which to prepare his case. And he went for a jury trial and they exonerated him. They said he wasn't inciting to violence. Quite frankly, I think he was. But the point is, that's how he was treated. On the other hand, Lucy Connolly was told there was going to be no bail for her and that she'd be in jail until her case came up, and that's why she felt pressured to just plead guilty. It was so obviously unjust that the various politicians, including Lord Hermer, the Attorney General, and the Prime Minister, were asked about it. Questioned about the case, the Prime Minister said he had no knowledge of it. Oh, yeah. Lord Hermer, the Attorney General, was said not to have been involved in the sentencing of Mrs. Connolly and others arrested in connection with the Southport riots. So they said they denied all responsibility. It was the judge's decision. And when Lucy applied to the Crown Prosecution Service for her files, they said they didn't have them. However, like many things Lucy was told, that wasn't true. She put in a subject access request, and this week, so this is nearly 3 years later, was finally sent all the relevant documents. Some of what they contain is utterly damning, not of Lucy, but of the criminal justice system that was clearly in a hurry to punish her as harshly as possible. So this is the timeline of what happened. She was charged on the night of August the 9th, on the night. By 9:45 the following day, which was a Saturday, when good lawyers are hard to find, the Crown Prosecution Service had got confirmation that Lord Hermer had signed off the prosecution. So he did know about it. He'd signed it off. Up early was he, Pearson says. Emails said the case had gone through as an emergency prosecution, what one senior barrister described to me as almost certainly unlawful. An emergency prosecution is when you have somebody you know is going to commit another crime. And so you have to get them banged up as quickly as possible. Well, this is not what should happen to somebody like Lucy Connolly. Even if she had really been the sort of rabid, racist, awful person that they were trying to portray her as, she wasn't going to commit any more crimes. That's for sure. So a senior barrister said it was almost certainly unlawful. So she was imprisoned unlawfully. He said they have to prove it's an emergency, and it clearly isn't, he said. What are they trying to prevent? Mrs. Connolly had already deleted her tweet, saying it's an emergency prosecution is clearly political. And this had come from the highest level, and I'm going to show you something else now. After the Southport disturbances, this Twix was put out by the Home Office, that is Yvette Cooper's patch at the time, and of course Keir Starmer's. Home Office, these criminals will face the full force of the law, it says here. And then it says we've made more than 1,000 arrests related to recent public disorder. These people had been arrested. Under British law, they are not guilty until they are found guilty in a court. But what this says is, as soon as they were arrested, they're criminals and they will face the full force of the law. That's what the Home Office had put out. So these people were already judged to be criminals. Do you realise how against everything that British law for the past 1,000 years has stood for? And they put this out, and they've given all their photographs here as well. That's this government. They have my deepest contempt. Anyway, on email, the CPS continued. There is evidence of other racist tweets sent on LC's account, both before and after that particular tweet. This is all absolutely a lie, absolutely 100% fabrication. And first of all, even if she had said something racist before this particular tweet, that's not what she was being arrested for. So they shouldn't be bringing that up. But she didn't say anything after that tweet. She didn't get a chance. They were down on her like a ton of bricks. This is absolutely terrible. This is just incredibly against everything that British law, the British legal system, and our social contract. It's against everything. And actually, it reminds me a lot of the Birmingham business. If you remember, the police, West Midlands Police, made up stories about the Maccabi fans so that they could stop the Maccabi fans from attending a football match between Maccabi Tel Aviv and the local football team, Aston Villa. They said the Maccabi fans had behaved badly in Amsterdam. The Amsterdam police were saying no, they didn't. And the Birmingham police were making things up. And this is very much like this. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself somewhat, but I find this so egregious and just indescribably awful. Anyway, it says here, not true. No further racist tweets were found on my phone or my Twitter account. I wouldn't say her tweets were racist either. She was talking about illegal immigrants that were being let in with no control or checking. That's not racist. That's what most people are saying. The thing about burning down the hostels, that's not nice. But she said, I don't care if you do. She didn't say go out and do it. So even that's questionable. Lucy says, this is confirmed by Northamptonshire Police in a reply to a complaint I made to them. There is one charge for one tweet on the indictment. That's it. That's the one she made that she deleted. If the police or CPS claim there were other racist tweets, then they misled the court, said the barrister, which is very serious. The whole thing is very serious. And then the barrister said that reasons for denying Lucy bail are obviously unlawful. She didn't need protection as she could be safe at home with her family and there was no danger of a repeat offence, as the documents claim. And the barrister says, again, it looks like a political decision. It is, it doesn't look like a political decision. It's blindingly obvious it's a political decision. The second bail hearing lasted 2 minutes, just long enough to read out her name, date of birth and address. No chance to say why she needed bail. She had a 12-year-old daughter to look after and a husband who was very ill. She was his primary caregiver and they refused bail. How evil can you be? As Lucy's was a first offence, she could have been fined. I mean, even if there was anything they found wrong. But in the documents, the CPS reveals that they've been told that people are going to get custodial sentences of more than 12 months. It means they were already condemned before they'd been to court. The barrister said specifying what the sentence should be is definitely political interference. The documents also reference Frank Ferguson, head of the Crown Prosecution Service's Special Crime and Counter-Terrorism Division. I mean, Lucy Connolly, a terrorist. That's ridiculous. Well, it's obviously ridiculous, who said in a statement issued after Lucy pleaded guilty on September the 2nd, and this is what he said. During the police interview, Lucy Connolly stated she had strong views on immigration, told officers she did not like immigrants and claimed that children were not safe from them. Which is a complete lie. That wasn't what she said. Police interviews confirm I did not say I didn't like immigrants. I said I was concerned about undocumented men arriving in the UK illegally and we don't know what they've done or where they're from. You see, that's perfectly reasonable. But the police twisted it and the Crown Prosecution Service twisted it even more. And that's the point. She trusted the police. They asked her for her opinions. She gave her opinions. That was a mistake. The duty solicitor said she should plead guilty because they just let her out after a slap on the wrist. That was a mistake as well. She believed him. And now, as Pearson says, Starmer and Hermer are preparing to restrict trial by jury. They are going after the legal system. You can see how they perverted it here. They don't care. Because, of course, you see, they are in the right. They are what that horrible man Barack Obama said once, on the right side of history. And being on the right side of history, they can do no wrong. So if they fiddle with the British legal system, if they pervert the course of justice, if they burn a witch they know to be innocent, but yeah, it makes a good example, that's all in the service of the grand plan. The Trump administration makes no secret of the fact that it regards Starmer's Britain as a free speech basket case. And in fact, Graham Linehan, the comedian, gave evidence to Congress today. That would be, let's see, this was published a couple of days ago. Yeah, here we are, 4th of February. So Graham Linehan had gave evidence to Congress about his arrest at Heathrow Airport by 5 armed officers last September for tweets he sent about the transgender debate. This is all coming from the top. Keir Starmer is ultimately responsible for all of this, and he wonders why people don't like him. Even people who have no interest in the legal system or the history or all of the common law that this government are destroying, dismantling piece by piece. People know that there's something deeply wrong with this government, and Lucy Connolly is the prime example of an evil that's taking over this country, a dictatorship that will cancel elections and pervert the course of justice. When a politician lies, it usually was to do with national security or trying to position Britain in a certain place, or it was a political thing. These people lie about themselves, and they've turned our court system into a mechanism for lying. The police are talking about the Maccabi fans. The Crown Prosecution Service accusing Connolly of things she didn't do. This government has turned our legal common law system into a shambles. It doesn't deserve to be in government, and it breaks my heart to see what they are doing to this country, our people, and our international reputation. It's just horrible. And Lucy Connolly is a prime example, but you know what? She is by no means the only one. Okay, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.